Hey everybody, good morning. I just want to hop on and talk quickly about one of my favorite exercises, which is the bench press. The bench press is a large upper body pressing movement, and if you follow my feed, you know that that is one of the big movements that needs to be part of your weight training program. It's a compound movement, uses a lot of muscles, a lot of joints, a lot of energy, very beneficial movement that should be part of your weight training program. The way I coach a bench press is maybe a little different than a lot of the stuff you see maybe on social media. I coach it from the standpoint of a normal person lifting weights in the gym, not a power lifter. So one of the big differences you're going to see is a lot of times you see people who are powerlifting and they're doing the bench press. They have a massive back arch and they have their legs really kind of tucked underneath them. That's not a technique that I coach because the majority of us are not power lifters. The reason they're doing this is because basically the goal of powerlifting is to move the maximum amount of weight through the shortest range of motion that would count as a completed lift. So by getting that huge back arch, that's what you're doing. You're actually getting your chest up a little higher, and it's actually shortening the range of motion of the bench, which is fine. It's a legitimate lifting technique, but you don't need to be doing that as a kind of recreational or like normal weightlifting individual. So I coach through NSCA standards. I'm certified by the National Strength and Conditioning Association, so that's how I coach. So when you're doing the bench press, one thing you want to keep in mind, the first thing is you want to keep 5 contact points at all times. So the first 2 are your 2 feet on the floor, then your butt is always on the bench, your upper back and shoulders are always on the bench, and your head is always on the bench, okay? So a lot of times maybe on, Instagram or whatever, or maybe even in your local gym, because I've seen it too when I've gone to gyms, you see guys with their feet up on the bench instead of on the floor, or you see them with their legs out straight saying it's engaging their core. I don't know, it might be engaging your core a little bit more, but it's also definitely taking away from your stability and from your power. And with an exercise like the bench press, that's not something you want to be doing. So you're keeping your 2 feet on the floor because that's actually helping with your stability. And believe it or not, it's actually helping with your drive and your power as well, because you have a good base to help push from, okay? So you're keeping those 5 contact points all the time throughout the press until you're done, okay? So you have your bar in the rack, you're going to take your position on the bench. And remember, you're going to lay down, keep your 5 contact points, and you're going to get your eyes kind of under the bench, and you're bringing them up. I always suggest using a closed grip. I don't like the open grip because, if you get fatigued, your wrist can bend backwards. You could actually drop the weight on yourself. So you keep your bum nice and tight, keep your feet on the floor so they're giving you stability, back, head, butt, everything's on the bench, and your arms should be coming down at about a 45-degree angle. They should not be out perpendicular to your back, that's to your shoulders rather, or the rest of your body. That's really bad for your shoulders, okay? So you're bringing it down all the way, touching your chest all the way back up, okay? All the way down, all the way back up, okay? If you do not touch your chest, that is not a full range of motion, okay? We don't want to load up the bar and be doing this. Right? This is not a beneficial exercise. You want to bring it all the way down through a full range of motion, exhale and push, and then we're going to re-rack it. Okay? So when you're doing the bench, that's kind of where you want to live as far as your technique and all that stuff. You don't want to be bouncing the weight off your chest, right? You can do that, right? You see that all the time. People bring it down real fast, almost bounce it off their sternum because your sternum and your ribs have a little bit of elasticity in them, so they can kind of bounce things. You don't want to be doing that. Slow and controlled throughout. Inhale on the way down, exhale and forcefully push up, okay? And you're using your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, a lot of your upper body muscles to complete this lift. So just remember, keep those things in mind. If you have safety catches, you definitely want to use those just in case you happen to get stuck. And one other thing I will always tell you is never clip your weights when you're bench pressing. Meaning the spring collars that keep the weights in place, because especially if you're lifting by yourself, you're not going to be able to get that weight off you if you happen to get stuck, okay? So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I hope everybody has a beautiful day.